Hello, my name's Corey Martin, and I'm here today to tell the story of my life. I tell this story in a very unique way, so I really hope you enjoy it. But more importantly, I hope you gather some information that might help you in your life. But before I tell this story, I'd like to share with you one of my dreams and goals. My dream is to be great. And ironically enough, this is a goal that we could all share. It's something the whole world has in common that we can be great at. And when I say a good person, I mean help who you can. Shoot someone a smile once in a while. It never hurts to make someone feel nice. Do what you can to help others. Do what you say you're going to do. Oh, and by the way, if you want to be successful, this is where it starts. It starts with being a good person, because no matter how much stuff you have or whatever you're doing, you're really not that successful unless you're a good person. So I could keep going with this subject. I love it, but I won't. I'm going to start my story. As a child, I walked through drugs and mayhem. I never did them, but I come out the other side a better man. As a young boy, I decided who I wanted to be. And I look back today, and I like who I see. As a young boy, I was touched by another. My mom was going through so much stuff in her own life, I didn't even tell her. I watched my grandfather get shot in the chest from 15 feet with a single shot. You cannot make this stuff up. Life, is that all you got? That living room looked like a war zone with blood on the walls and floor. I'm only 10 years old. I didn't know if I could take it anymore. But there was good news ahead. I knew it couldn't last because I'd had about all I could take. And then a few years later, I got bit by a rattlesnake. I almost died in that hospital bed. But I looked up at God and said, I don't want to go. And that's when I realized one day I'll have control of my own life, and I can write the script to my own show. I went on to the 6th grade, and it didn't go well. I started cheating. What the hell? This went on till about halfway through. And then one night I was laying in bed and said, Corey, what are you going to do? So I went to the teacher that I had deceived. He said, son, don't worry, I'm going to help you. And I couldn't believe. So the 7th, 8th, and 9th is where they would send. But little did they know that this was the end. Academics and myself would soon part, and the life of a dropout would finally start. But I worked at this restaurant that was 5 miles each way. I would walk home at 12:30 at night. And for a 14-year-old, somehow, it just does not seem right. One night in particular, I was really tired and the walk seemed too far. But luckily for me, behind the restaurant that I worked, there were some old junk cars. I went back there and got in and forced myself to sleep. I know what you're thinking, but don't worry, I'm tough and I wasn't scared. But about an hour after I was in there, the car door opened, and in the eyes of a homeless man I stared. He said, this is my car, much to my surprise. And in my biggest 14-year-old voice, I said, not tonight, get in the back, and tightly closed my eyes. He didn't start any trouble, and we made it through the night. I thought that car was a one-time thing, but unfortunately, I wasn't right. I spent many nights in that car, but that's okay. I think it helped build character and turn me into the person I am today. I went on to work a couple more years and saw my restaurant career through. and then went on to construction, like most dropouts do. I know what you're thinking, that maybe you've had it worse. And then there's some of you that might say, man, that guy's had it bad. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that there's some lessons to be had. What I take from this is I didn't let a situation, a person, or a thing dictate who I was going to be. Because that decision is one person, and that one person's me. About this time, my mom was in her first year of sobriety, and I was just turning 19. So I thought I'd move in and help her while she was getting clean. We had the most amazing conversations. She listened to my dreams like they were facts. And then one day she came to me and said, Corey, can we make a pact? Can we make a pact to do something nice or help someone every day? You have no idea the impact that made on my life in every single way. Because before this, all I cared about was girls and money. And to be rich was just a race. But it doesn't compare now to when I help someone or see a smile on someone's face. I took my mom's promise into my 20s. I did anything and everything I could. Even sometimes to the point where I think maybe I was misunderstood. Later on in my 20s, I got married and had a son. I looked up at God and said, thank you. I think I finally won. My son is my best accomplishment, and I love him with all my heart. I can't wait to see where he ends up in life, but he's off to a really good start. But back to the helping thing, I just couldn't do enough. I always wondered, was it my education level? Because without it, it was going to be tough. I never took my lack of education for granted. But one day I said, Corey, you're going to be a fireman, and you're going to help lots of people and have the best job on the planet. So the next day, I went to the adult education building, and I met a lady that would become a very close friend. I think she believed more in me than I did, and she helped me see it through till the end. Now that I have my education and I'm a fireman, I'm finally on my way. But it didn't compare to the first call I ran and helped someone. I knew I was home to stay. Now my career was going amazing, but my marriage was failing fast. We just couldn't see eye to eye on things. So we put our relationship in the past. I went on to meet another lady, and we've been together a while. And every time I think about her, it simply makes me smile. But back to my career. You see, firemen don't make much money, you see. So I started a little company called Rescue Me. I worked and worked through blood, sweat, and tears. In 2009, I made a goal to buy 30 houses and have them paid off in just 5 years. Now I know what you're thinking. This guy's crazy, but what did he do? Well, that's a conversation for another time and place. But if I can do it, so can you. There's been a lot of real estate and business of a lot of different kinds, and I've had a lot of fun. And as far as the money goes, I've made a ton. So this takes me to the age of 43, and life is going good. But there's some things about my 20s that I just didn't tell you because I didn't want to be misunderstood. In my 20s, I started shaking, and they just could not figure it out. But one thing they knew for sure, that it wasn't Parkinson's without a doubt. So 25 years later, with Parkinson's I stand. Now I don't tell you this to feel sorry for me. I'd rather you simply shake my hand. I went on to work another 7 years at the fire department. I think it was about all I could. Things just started happening, like falling in balance and stuff. Things just weren't going that good. But I'd like to tell you a story that happened just before the end. It helped me decide to retire and some laughs between some friends. You see, we went on this call and we got on scene. It was a semi in a canal with lots of water in between. I grabbed my ladder and I head that way. And I lose my balance and I fall and go underwater with all my gear. But don't worry, I come up and I was okay. I get to my patient and he looks at me and says, "Are you all right?" I said, "Man, I don't think you're supposed to be asking me that. I'm Superman without his tights." I get the man to safety and everything was just okay. But even when I get together with my buddies now, we still laugh about it today. But I'll never forget the day I retired. I went into my lieutenant, which is a very close friend. We laughed, we cried. He tried to talk me out of it. And I said, it's time for my career to end. You see, but when one door shuts, another opens. But this one, I really hate. But I'm not going to let it slow me down on my quest for being great. I don't know what my future holds, but it looks like a bliss. So I'd like to take you on a blast back through the past, just in case part you missed. I did grow up in a drug house. I did watch my grandfather get shot in the chest with a shotgun. I did cheat in the 6th grade. My dad did really shoot a man in the face and die in prison. I did get molested. There was a lot of things that happened in my life that was unfortunate. But you have to deal with unfortunate things like you deal with fortunate things. It's just life. So decide who you're going to be at a young age and you'll live a better life. But if you don't decide early, decide as soon as you know. It's very important to figure out who you want to be and what kind of person you want to turn out to be. So how I learned on how I want to be and who I wanted to be was through these 5 or 6 rules of success that I talk about. And I'd like to share them with you. But before I start the 6 rules of success, I'd like to tell you about one other little thing that I go by, and that's conversation creates opportunity. It's not a rule of success, but believe me, success cannot happen without it. So, conversation creates opportunity. Remember when I told you about those 30 houses? Well, as it turns out, I didn't have any money. And I wanted the houses. So I thought, how am I going to make it happen? So I started having conversations with people that did have money, like loan officers at every bank in town. There's too many to count, but they all said no, but I didn't stop. And I learned something from each conversation, and I kept going and used it in the next. And then I met this gentleman. He said, "No, Corey, you got the right attitude, you got everything it takes, but your credit's just not there." My credit got damaged in my divorce, unfortunately. But a couple days later, after I left his office, he calls me back. He said, "Corey, I have a gentleman that will lend you the money to buy your first house." And that's conversation creates opportunity. And the rest, my friend, is history. I took that opportunity and ran as hard as I could with it, and I didn't stop. And I'm going to tell you what I did with the next in my 6 rules of success, The first rule of my success is to dream. Every successful story, every successful thing that ever happened started with a dream. I don't care what anyone says. If someone calls you a dreamer, say thank you, because I'm on my way to success. You have to dream huge. You have to dream outside the box. You have to dream loud. Scream your dreams from the rooftops, whether it's sobriety, economics, a relationship, or whatever it may be. Dream big, and don't be afraid to fail at your dream, because everyone does. And you just have to get up and keep dreaming. But rule number 2 is setting goals for your dreams, because dreams without goals are just dreams and will ultimately lead to disappointment, in the famous words of Denzel Washington. What I'm saying is, dreams and goals go hand in hand, and you can't set goals high enough, and you can't dream big enough. Dream outside the box and set big goals. 3 and 4 go together. Motivation and discipline. I'll start with motivation. My story for motivation is this. I live in a small town in Florida, and I've had some success here, and everyone kind of knows each other. I was at the store one day, and I have a pretty nice house and stuff, and I ran across this guy. He said, "Corey, how did you become so successful in real estate?" He said, "I know you, man. I went to school with you. You're not that smart." I laughed and said, "You know what? You're right. I'm not that smart. But I promise you, I have more motivation than any person you've ever met. So you can keep your smarts, and I'll keep my motivation, and we'll see where we end up. But God forbid you have both. If you're smart and motivated, man, you can write your own ticket. You can be successful at anything you want. But you're not always going to be motivated every day. So that's when you have to use your discipline to stay motivated and stay your course." And my story to discipline is this. You're not always going to want to get up and go work on your goals and dreams or whatever it may be. So I ask you, don't commit to getting up and going and building a house or working on your dream or whatever it may be. Just commit to standing up. Just stand up. If you're sitting on the couch after work and you say, "I'm staying right here, I'm not working on my dreams and goals today," just commit to stand up. You will increase your odds by 50%. Stand up. It's as simple as that. And this 5th thing is consistency. You will never achieve anything in life unless you stay consistent. I promise you that. All of these rules are extremely important, none more than the other, but consistency. If you consistently do something bad, you're going to get bad results. If you consistently do something good, I promise you, you will get good results. And number 6 is hard work. What do you say about hard work? Hard work is hard work, and it pays off. If you put in the time, you will definitely reap the rewards of success on whatever it is you're trying to be successful at. And that is my story. I thank you for listening. I would like to ask you one favor. In your journey through success, please, always stay humble and kind, and you will keep the success you work so hard for. Thank you. I'm completely done, but I would like to share with you my toast. I have a success toast, and I'd like to share with you. toast to success. From the smallest task to the questions we ask, it's success. From the time we wake till the time we sleep, there's many successes that we meet. Around every corner, we have the opportunity to succeed. Not with just the things we want, but the things we truly need. Success is not about fashion, fortune, or fame. It's about what's inside our heart, and to never be ashamed. To be truly successful, you must be thankful and happy in every way. And because I got to make this video and share it with you today, I'm having a very successful day. Thank you, and God bless.